Hi, everybody. I'm Owen from Castle. And today I'm going to talk to you about a common use case that I've seen across quite a few customers at this point now, with the same general type of idea of where they would like to take a picture of something and make a comment about that thing and then share that with colleagues. And the easiest, I've seen this across a couple of different customers at this point, is what I'll call a competitive shopper app. And so there's a real easy way to do this out of the box for those of you who would like to do it yourself, like to get started with Power Apps and building a competitive shopper app. That's what we're going to do today. And so we're going to do it by beginning with an out-of-the-box template from again, the Power App family of templates. And so quick plug before we get into any of the particulars about the technology today. If you're looking to adopt or integrate any of these products in the Microsoft technology, then you might want to come talk to us over here at Castle. We are a Microsoft Silver Data Platform partner, and so we can help you figure out how to leverage all of these or any of these to accomplish the business goals that you'd like to get done. App that we'd like to work with today is Power App. And so we're going to build this competitive shopper app over in Apps. And so here we are on the new page screen for Power Apps. And you'll see that there is a start with a blank canvas or a template choice that's given down in the bottom. And for the competitive shopper app, the more common type of example of how this would be used is you would go to visit your competition and watch how they do business. And you would want to take notes as you observe the way that they serve the same market that you essentially want to have. And periodically, you might want to take pictures as you do that. And if you're going to do this in a inobtrusive type of fashion, you probably want to have your application in a phone layout type of fashion. Otherwise, if it was in the tablet type of fashion or the tablet orientation, you'd have to turn the phone sideways when you were using it. And there is a site inspection template that is included with these Power App templates. And again, the site inspection template is filled with incredibly robust functionality in terms of being able to take a picture for a physical site, to include a title reference for that picture, a subtitle reference for that picture, and a description for that. So that fits in pretty nicely with the competitive shopper type of approach, where you would want to take a picture of a situation that you're observing while you're doing your competitive shopping. You probably want to have a summary reference for that, and then some type of detail comments about what you see there. So here's the example templates from the out-of-the-box experience from Microsoft with the site inspection. And I'll give you a quick tour of the application before we point out some of the things that we need to fix in order to be able to use it properly. First thing to point out to you is that there are 9 screens that come with this: the dashboard screen, new inspection screen, camera screen, edit image screen, the delete image screen, delete inspection screen, image screen, edit detail screen, and edit inspection screen. And the reason for these number of different screens that are presented here is as you move from for instance, and seeing the summary information for a given particular comment, you might want to add pictures or images to that particular comment. And when you revise those pictures, it takes you from the camera screen to the edit image screen. And so there is incredibly powerful examples in this template of how you can leverage the power of Power Apps pretty easily. As I click on these various different screens on the left here, you'll see what those different screens look like. This is the new inspection screen, and the camera screen would allow you to click on the camera space and capture a picture. Since I am using my camera to record this particular video, it's not going to cooperate here in the environments to show you what the image would look like. If I'm working with an existing data sets or an existing comment that is already captured in the collection. If I'd like to revise an image that I already have, that would be on the edit image screen. If I want to get rid of images, then I would use the delete image screen to do that. If I want to get rid of a complete inspection, then I would use the delete inspection screen. The image screen allows me to see what all the pictures are associated with this, and again, the edit details screen allows me to access the details that I have associated with a particular inspection. So again, pretty robust, pretty powerful, out-of-the-box type of functionality that you see here on the home landing page with the dash. It is populated with a gallery that contained within that gallery there is a collection of controls that is a text box for the title, a text box for the subtitle, a text box for the description, and then there's a picture that comes along with those three pieces and a rectangle that separates them from the subsequent collection that come after them in the gallery that's there. So that's a pretty fast, breezy tour of the application. You are welcome to explore it for yourself because there are lots of pieces of detail to comb through and figure out how things work. But as you notice, the red X that's given here, some of the things don't quite work out of the box as they are. So let's see what's going on with this red X here. If I click on that and I choose to edit in the formula bar, this window up here, and if you notice that particular text box 4, or excuse me, text box 4_3 is got the red squiggle underneath the fields or the column of title because it is missing a reference to this item. And so that is what it's supposed to say there. And you notice when we fix that for this particular first item in the list in the gallery, it automatically starts to cascade through with the other images that are there. So I can either click on the graphical interface for the next control to try and change it, or I can click on the tree view on the left edge. And again, the subtitle needs to have the reference to this item in front of it. That is what is going wrong with that. And the last red X in this is a bit of a more complex situation because it's concatenated with some ampersands and the spaces that separates the address, the city, and the zip to make it a more professionally formatted line of text here. So again, each of these needs to have this item associated with it. So there's this item dot address, there's this item dot city, and this item dot state, and finally this item. And when we put that in place, hit enter, now we see that all of the sample data that we populated from out of the box is now showing us the detail there where it was hidden before because it wasn't working. And now if I preview the app, I can see that the sample images work. If I click on any one of those entries, it takes the tail screen that's underneath it. If you notice now, the icons in the banner have changed to show a trash can symbol for delete and a pencil sign for edit. So when I click on that pencil sign for edit, I can revise the descriptions that are here. So I can enter additional information and change this and save it to the the data repository that it uses. And so now if I go back into that comment, we'll see that those entries that I've entered have persisted. And so this is all out of the box. I haven't done anything except change the entry to this item dot title, this item dot subtitle, and this item dot address, city, state, and zip code to get the information from the sample database to show. If I want to create a new entry, just click the plus sign that's up there, and the fields that have the asterisks that's associated with them are mandatory fields. So my competitive location, and this is where I did the visit. Right, and I can save this at this point, or I can add photos. If I click on the line there that says add photos, again, it takes me to a screen where I see the camera control that if I was to click on it, it would save the picture. And right now my camera is in use, so it's not going to take the picture for us. But for now, if I scroll down further, there's additional detail. You see that it's a pretty robust application, that it's looking for address, city, state, zip code. But if you want to save your people some time, you can use the GPS for current location. And once again, this is all out of the box from the template. Click on save, and now it's going to take me back to the home dashboard with the gallery where I can see my very first entry there with my competitive location, and this is where I did the visit. Right, so that's the out-of-the-box templates from the site inspection feature, where you can take pictures and make notes about the picture that you've just taken, right? So what's the challenge here? Why isn't this a more popular thing for people to do in terms of creating their own applications? Well, if you notice when we click on the gallery here, there is a control for the data source. This is the site inspector control. If you look here in the items for the gallery control, it points out to you that the site inspector collection is what's being used. If I go take a look the other screens, like for instance the camera screen where we were taking a picture, if we were to click on that, when we select that image, if we go to the camera control and choose to on select, you'll notice the collection that it uses there now is this thing called camera photos. And so there's a little bit of a challenge to get the Microsoft templates to work with data sources that you want to work with yourself. And it works brilliantly using these collections, but maybe that there are data stores that you'd like to use. Maybe, again, you'd like to report on these pieces of competitive intelligence that you've collected through your competitive shopping. So how can we go about capturing data outside of those collections? We're going to use a quick little workaround. And before we get there, I want to point out I am going to use a SharePoint list as a data repository. It is not what I would normally recommend that people use to store their information when there is such a powerful set of alternatives that's available in the Azure storage worlds with the Cosmos database, the blob storage, with the hot and cold types of options. Again, by the time I finish putting this video together, the alternatives that you'll find for storage far outweigh whatever sort of benefit you get from the ease of use of the SharePoint listing here. But since it is an easy to use feature and integrates well with Power Apps, the SharePoint list is where I'm going to store data for a quick moment. And so I've created a SharePoint list that I'm calling the Power Apps demo list, where you see that we have 3 fields or 3 columns that we're tracking: the title field, a shopper comment field, and then a comment image string field. And the reason why we're going to capture the image as a string is because Power Apps does not play well with images and captures image data in the form of the PNG base 64 type of formatting and content bytes type of data. So again, we're going to capture it as a data, as a string, and we're still going to be able to leverage it in reporting the information on it. So again, we have a SharePoint list as a place to store the data, and the way that we are going to get it there is through a flow, through Power Automate. We've put together a flow called the Power Apps Data Flow Workaround. So let's show you what the Power Apps Data Flow Workaround looks like. And all it needs are the permissions to work with SharePoint. And first we start with Power Apps as the trigger, and then we initialize the variables that we need for the SharePoint list where we want to store the data. So we are going to ask in Power Apps to get the title, and we're going to ask in Power Apps to get the comments, and we are going to ask in Power Apps to get the photo. And again, if you notice, the type of data here for the photo is in fact a string. And the next step here in our flow is we're going to create the item by pointing to the URL with the SharePoint list of the Power Apps demo list, and we're going to put the field variable into the title field. We're going to put the comment variable into the comment field, and we're going to put that image string variable into the image string field. So that's the flow that we're going to use in order to get this template over here to work properly. If I go to the SharePoint list itself again, you'll see right now that the contents that is in that list is blank. And as I take a look at the gallery control in the site inspection app here, you'll see that it is filled with the sample image data. In fact, if I take a look at the actual images within each of these cards, you'll see that it is looking up images from a collection called Site Photos. So again, if I run this data and if I take a look at the content that's down here, all of these collections are being populated and are being used with the out-of-the-box experience here. So again, here from the SharePoint list, you see that there's no data there. So we want to have our information being shared with the SharePoint list and not just the collections that we've seen so far. Here on the edit inspection form, you see that there is a save button that when we click on the save button, it uses the submit form with the form edit inspection command here to take whatever is the current contents of the fields on the page here and updates the collections that are associated with the data being displayed. Add to this function right here by putting in a semicolon, and then we're going to click on action, and we will choose the Power Automate choice. And you'll see that there is this flow here, the Power Automate flow for the Power Apps Data Flow workaround that we showed you a moment ago in the tab where we edited the flow there. And now it's going to prompt us for the 3 variables that we said that we were going to need with the flow there. So the very first variable that we saw in the flow that we used was the title field. And on the edit inspection page here, the title is in this field, in this card. It's that value right there. And in the tree view on the left, we can see that this is the data card 44, value 37. Now, this is going to be a quick plug for These are not the best way to name controls. This is out-of-the-box template from Microsoft, and so it's very uniform with the way that they've named their controls there. But you probably want to revise the names of these controls so that they have more meaningful types of descriptors, so that you understand what you're working with in the low code piece of the low code, no code aspects that we're about to work with. Because, for instance, again, this is value 37 on that data card 44. So here on that save button, I am going to click on the Power Apps Flow Workaround run, and we are going to put in and collect the variable for the title. So this is, again, the value 37 dot text. So that's going to be the text for the title. The second thing that we want is the comments, which is associated with the description that's coming up in this card here. And that description is value 41. So again, back to the save button, what we want is value 41, and again we want the text value that's associated with that. And then finally we have the picture that's in the center here, this image, which is let's see, which card is that? That is data card 2, and it has image 8 that's in the center there. And so if you notice, it says if is blank, you're going to look up the photos from the gallery. Otherwise, it's going to look it up from the site photos where the picture was put when it was taken with the camera. So right now, all I'm doing is when I change this button, so when I use this image 8 as my third variable here, so it's going to be image 8, and I want that dot image. And now I'll close parens. At this point, what we've done is we have changed the function of the save button on the edit inspection page, so that it's going to save this data to our SharePoint list instead of the collection. If you recall, what it did previously was it revised the information from the collection where it got it in the first place, which was this. If I click on this point, this is only one place where we would need to make a change like this in order to take over the templates in terms of the data storage and where we can update new information and new data. So the template itself is a great starting point. It can easily save you days and days of effort in terms of putting together 9 different screens with instructions on how to delete new photos and add new photos and things like that. But now let's go ahead and run this from the very beginning and see how this will all work. So again, if I go back to the first page here and I run this, if I go over to my SharePoint lists and I refresh my screen here just to make sure that I'm working with the same blank SharePoint list to begin with. So let's go into the Contoso Building 15. And right now we are on a screen that allows us to view this. When I click the pencil icon up here, this now is the page that we just edited, that we revised, where we changed the save information that's here. And if I do nothing except just click this button, then it will take the same information that is already in the sample image database, the sample photos and the site inspector and all those collections that we've seen so far, and it will copy it over to the SharePoint page. So I just click that button. I'll go over to the SharePoint tab, and I'll hit the refresh button here, and we see that the Contoso Building 15 has got the comments with the grand 538 square feet office space. And here again is the comment image string with the PNG 64 base format data structure that it likes. And so again, That was a real quick and dirty way to show you how you can take a template out of the box from Microsoft that is really robust in terms of the functionality that it has, but it has a slight little constraint that it doesn't like you to use any data source but its own internal collections, and you can add your own data collections and data sources to that particular piece of functionality. Through the simple choice here of having a SharePoint list and putting a flow together that can do all that. So once again, if you are interested in any further instruction or guidance on how you can leverage any of these products that are here, feel free to reach out to us. We're more than eager to work with you in helping you leverage the legacy data that you have and to make the cloud work for you. Thanks. Bye.